What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the February 20th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. So we open the show in a bit of a different fashion than usual, with Kayla Braxton and Paul Heyman already sitting down with our first guest, that being Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews, as seen on SmackDown, attacked Big E and Shinsuke Nakamura in pretty brutal fashion, specifically Big E, when he tossed these steel steps on his face from the ring while Big E was on the outside. Of course, we didn't see it, but we were led to believe that Big E was pretty seriously banged up, as he would be if he got smashed with steel steps, whatever. So Big E was, I think, stretchered out of the arena. We were told here that he was suffering, I forgot the exact wording of what they called it, or of what Kayla called the condition, or what he was suffering from. I think it was a brain thing. It sounded like a brain injury. The exact update is on WWE.com right now. But Kayla did say that Big E was suffering from temporary arm weakness, and he is currently at home, not convulsing. Was it convulsing? Was that the word that they used? I don't think convulsing was the right word. Something along those lines. I guess recuperating, getting better, recovering at home right now. So Kayla then asks Apollo a bunch of questions while we see the footage of what he did on SmackDown. If he was experiencing a moment of weakness in that moment of when he lost to Shinsuke, lost his cool, went after Big E. Does he regret doing what he just did? And then Paul Heyman turns to Apollo after Apollo doesn't answer any of Kayla's questions, and he says to Apollo, "You just made the decision from which you can never turn back." And Apollo again has nothing to say to that either. So after turning to the camera, looking at Kayla, looking at Paul Heyman, he just walks off without saying anything at all, which was brilliant. I thought that was really, really well done. This is not where you can, because Talking Smack is where they've typically hosted a lot of great promos from Big E, Heyman, even AJ Styles over from Raw, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro last week. They could have done the big promo here, but you might as well just save that for SmackDown next week, because he just turned heel. Or, he was already kind of a heel, but he solidified that heel turn on Friday night, literally a few hours earlier from when this was taped. Just save it for next week, or the week after. There's no reason to give it away here, so I thought that was really, really well done. So then, Heyman brings up, before they welcome out their next guest, he says that he knows what Roman Reigns said to Edge on SmackDown, but he's not going to reveal what it was. Kayla asks about it, and then Heyman says, "Why would I tell you? Clearly it was a private conversation. I know what he said, and I'm not going to tell you." So he's like teasing Kayla about it, which was great. And then Kayla complimented Seth Rollins' suit game from last week and this week. He's got some pretty wacky, outrageous outfits. That must be the new character of Seth Rollins. So that was when they welcomed on Reginald, who clarifies that he works for Carmella, despite his recent interactions with Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. He clearly officially works for Carmella. And Kayla asks him, "Are you playing games with Carmella and Sasha Banks? Because you'll go back and do whatever Carmella says, but then you'll go ahead and flirt or do this weird stuff with Sasha. It really seems like you're attracted to her, that you're interested in her." And he says, "Absolutely not. Why would I ever be interested in her? I work for Carmella." That's what he keeps saying. I work for Carmella. I work for Carmella. All right, you can work for Carmella and still be interested in Sasha Banks, but he doesn't answer that question. He does say that he's excited for the future, and he doesn't really say anything. They ask for his thoughts on the women's tag team match on Sunday, and he takes the side of Bianca and Sasha and saying that, hey, that team speaks for itself, kind of implying that he thinks they'll walk away with the women's tag team titles. I don't know what any of this has to do with Carmella. I don't fucking care. Listen, Reginald, he plays his role well. I just do not care about the character. He was acting more heelish here than babyface, even though he came across like a babyface on SmackDown. I don't know what to think, and I don't really care. But one thing he does say before he walks off, and Heyman asks him about the conversation that Roman and Edge had with each other that we couldn't hear on SmackDown. And he basically asked Reginald, "Oh, would you want to know what Roman said to Edge?" And Reginald says, telling Heyman exactly what he wanted to hear, which honestly isn't a bad answer. He was kind of right when he said this. He said, that conversation, whatever he said, was clearly meant for Edge and Roman, and it should stay between those two. And then Heyman, out of love for Reginald, hugs the guy, and he's like, "Please come back more often, blah, blah, blah." Reginald leaves, and he's like, "I'm so glad that prick is gone," or something along those lines. Typical Heyman, just kind of playing people up, being nice to their face after they walk away, just shitting all over them, regardless of whether a face or a heel or whatever. Right? That's typical Heyman shit. So I thought that was entertaining. So they welcome on Kalisto. I don't think Kalisto was ever advertised for this episode. They said, oh, Kalisto's got a big announcement. We have not seen Kalisto in a match on SmackDown in like 4 or 5 months. Ever since they broke up the Lucha House Party, he stayed on SmackDown. Metallic and Dorado went to Raw. He's done absolutely nothing on SmackDown aside from appearing in the occasional segment backstage with Sasha Banks. That's it. So I'm not exactly sure what the announcement was going to entail. It didn't even matter because Jey Uso interrupted it anyway, so I don't know if they did that just to put heat on Jey Uso, but I'm pretty sure Jey Uso was already scheduled to be on the show, so him showing up wasn't really much of a surprise. If anything, Kalisto was taken away from his time here on the show on Talking Smack. So I don't know if they'll reveal that announcement next week, if it's going to be a running week thing, a running gag where he never gets to announce it, if they'll save it for SmackDown next week. I get the feeling they don't really care, because Kalisto hasn't been a priority up to this point, so why would he be a priority now? You know what I mean? So Jey Uso interrupts him, who basically he just calls out all of his Elimination Chamber opponents, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, and none of them stand a chance against Jey Uso on Sunday. And then he throws it to Heyman, who hypes up the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view and the match itself, and whoever wins will not beat Roman Reigns for that Universal Championship. And he basically says that they control SmackDown, and they can end the show whenever they want. And then they count down 3, 2, 1, and then Talking Smack ends abruptly. So this was one of the shortest episodes of Talking Smack I probably have ever seen. It was only 18 minutes long. Usually the show stems from like 20 to 30 minutes. This was the shortest episode, if not ever, definitely in that conversation, which I didn't have a problem with. The Reginald stuff I just could not give two shits about. Cruz said nothing, but I thought his segment was well done. And the Jey Uso Heyman stuff was enjoyable, but didn't really say anything substantial. It was just kind of hyping up the pay-per-view for Sunday, which I guess was the whole point of Talking Smack here, considering the pay-per-view is tomorrow. But again, nothing really they said got me more excited for the pay-per-view than I already was, which wasn't all that excited to begin with. So kind of a ho-hum edition of Talking Smack, in my opinion. Really nothing worth going out of your way to see. The Cruz stuff was well done, but again, he said nothing, so I can't really say, oh, go see his segment if he said nothing at all. Jey Uso and Heyman were business as usual. The Kalisto stuff was very, very short. And Reginald was Reginald. So that was Talking Smack for February 20th, 2021. Thank you guys for checking out this review. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Hit that bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. We have, like I said, content going up every single day from Talking Smack reviews, Raw Talk reviews, SmackDown audio reviews, which also went up today. We have interviews almost every single week as well, including from this past Friday, where I had the chance to talk to Raw superstar Kofi Kingston. It's up in article form right now on Bleacher Report. You can check that out. And the audio version is right here on the channel. That went up on Friday. So check that out and subscribe. Cannot stress that enough. We are quickly closing in on 5,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. We have Talking Smack reviews every single week if that's what you're interested in. Again, Raw Talk reviews, WWE 24 reviews, the Big E episode is coming up next week, and I'll talk about that after it airs. We have Broken Skull Sessions with Sasha Banks coming up tomorrow, the day of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I'll be breaking that down on Monday. Tomorrow is my WandaVision Season 1 Episode 7 review with myself, Chris Mueller, and Phil Lindsay. We have a great time, as always, breaking down the show. Almost an hour and a half of a review for WandaVision from Friday, which was a very newsworthy episode if you watched it. So, again, if you like that type of stuff, subscribe. You will not regret it. Have a great weekend, guys. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.